Oh, oh. Guys, Nika here with your second Daily Neuro Nugget. This one is not going to be as lengthy as the first one, but you guys told me, you warned me that this new interview with the Goncalves family was a messy interview, and you were right. I'm going through this, and it's a very lengthy interview. I'm just skimming through it, and let's go right through it. I'm just going to sum it up. Again, I was right. I had a feeling because every time that the Goncalves family does an interview, we get more tidbits of information, new tidbits of information. And this is not something I had heard before, that people were reaching out to their 15-year-old daughter, Aubrie, that Kaylee had been shot. Again, why are they out here sharing this information that they're not supposed to be sharing, by the way? So, look, I'm no body language analysis expert, but these are my opinions with my psychology background. And the first thing that I see in this interview, okay, it's Steve and Christy, right? And there's also Chris and Karen and all the people doing the interview. But Steve and Christy don't look so hot as one would expect, right? They're still, they don't look good. They don't look good, okay? They're going through a lot. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. And they say that throughout the 1 hour, 40-minute interview, that nobody would want to be in their shoes. And that's right. Especially if you're a parent, you know what it's like to have a sick child. Like, we've all had kids when they have like a runny nose or a fever, and you have to take, it's so stressful. Now imagine having lost a daughter, right? First of all, I'm so thankful that in this interview, Mr. Goncalves is not wearing those glasses. You know what I'm talking about? The glasses that kind of look like he's wearing just to wear. I like when he can't cover his eyes because I feel like we get a more accurate reading of him. And you know, him and Christy both have the pursed lips. It's like, they're doing this with the slanty. Okay, they're pretty sad having to recount the events, even though it's been years later. And some of you have mentioned that maybe the glasses that now we see Christy wearing is part of an act. They're trying to detract attention away from the actual case, from the actual assailants. And I don't know what to think anymore, guys. So please share your opinions with me. If you watched this interview, she is crying basically throughout the interview. They're very upset. And what I do notice is that in my opinion, guys, again, these are my opinions, my theories. Everything here is alleged. I get the vibe that although Mr. Goncalves in other videos, in other interviews where he's alone, he can come across as very narcissistic, sometimes even controlling. In this scenario where we have both of the Goncalves parents here, the one that comes across as the most controlling here to me is actually Christy. And I know a lot of you may disagree. That's fine. You can disagree respectfully in the chat, in the comments. That's fine. Maybe you think she's just a wounded mother. That's okay if you disagree. But in my opinion, we can tell she is the alpha in the relationship because Steve doesn't say much in the majority of the interviews where you have both of them. Okay, she's the one that does 90% of the talking, and then he'll do some pitching in, right? I find that very telling because that just makes me believe that my other theories are right, which is that Mr. Goncalves goes a little bit unhinged. We'll say he's a little bit unhinged when he is giving these interviews alone, because that's really the only time he's actually able to speak his truth or speak in general. If you have such a controlling wife, right? And some of you guys may say, well, it's just Mr. Goncalves giving her the room, letting her vent, letting her do whatever. But I don't think so. I feel like a lot of the times when Christy is talking, especially in this interview, it looks like he's holding back. Why is he holding back? Is it because Christy is the alpha and she is the controlling one? She is the one that is wanting to control the entire narrative. Therefore, Mr. Steve Goncalves is only allowed to talk when she allows it, right? Now, there's something so random that I caught. Again, in the first 45 minutes, it's a lot of crying. It's a lot of Christy, mostly Christy talking. They're talking about, how Aubrie only got a partial scholarship, which is like, again, this is supposed to be an interview about your daughter that is no longer with us. Rest in peace, Kaylee. Beautiful Kaylee, rest in peace. This is supposed to be about her. But instead, we literally have Christy talking about how she didn't get a full scholarship. I don't know what else to say, but this definitely catches my attention. The fact that the first thing that you mention is, well, she didn't catch a full ride. She wants to be an anesthesiologist. She wants to be an anesthesiologist, and she's very popular. But she didn't get a full ride. And then Chris, doing the interview, is like, kind of giggles, semi-giggles, and he's like, well, yeah, but partial is still a big deal. Do you know how long anesthesiology school is? It's like forever, like half your life, basically. Okay, getting a partial scholarship. And again, I've talked about Aubrie Goncalves, young, still in high school, is taking pictures with the governor of Idaho who has ties to Scott Green at U of I. She's now receiving not one, but 2 scholarships, ladies and gentlemen. And here we have Christy. Is the sadness real? Is the sadness not real? And if the sadness is real, why is your concern about the money? Again, I can't get past that. And yes, I've had children, but yes, I haven't had children pass away. But yes, I've had people comment in the comment section saying, Nika, look, I've lost children. Several people in the comments have lost children. And you guys are saying that the way that the Goncalves are acting is really fucking weird. And this kind of just seals the deal for me. We have an hour 45. In the first 45 minutes, you're talking about Aubrie. Aubrie is popular. Everybody loves Aubrie. Aubrie wants to go to another school. Aubrie didn't get enough money for anesthesiology school. What? Then I scroll to like minute 40, right? Like, I'm just scrolling. And I don't know if you guys caught this. I catch everything. Okay, nothing slips by me. At minute 40 with like 30 seconds. 30 seconds. If you guys scroll, I'm not going to play it. But it sounds like somebody is ripping ass in the background. Did you guys catch that? I don't want to play it because last time I played something, like, I got in trouble and I'm not going to risk it. Because it seems like some people are allowed to play videos, but I'm not. I don't know why. I'm not. I get in trouble, but other people can. So if you want to go watch this, why is somebody ripping ass in the background? Right? Oh my God, GoFundMe number 1 million for Aubrie. And I did notice that in the description of this video, it's called The Idaho Student Murderers, Christy and Steve Goncalves React to New Information in the Interview Room. If you go to the description, guess what they posted, right? Guess what they posted? Oh, look, a GoFundMe. Interesting. But we have this new information that we had heard that people had tried to reach out to Olivia. But now, are they changing the story again? We had heard out that people had tried to reach out to Steve and Christy, but now are they changing the story again? Saying that people that they didn't even know were reaching out to Aubrie Gonzalez. Why would they be reaching out to Aubrie, who wasn't even in college, who was like, I don't know, a freshman? Wasn't she a freshman? How did the college people even know her? And by the way, that opens up a whole other can of worms, because now I'm concerned. How are people reaching out to a minor, right? Because she was probably, what, 15 when this happened? How were they reaching out to her? How did they know that she was related to Kaylee? Was it through social media alone? And I want to know who reached out to her. Who reached out to a minor on social media to let her know that Kaylee had been shot? And what time did they reach out to her? Was it 8 a.m.? Was it before 911 was called? Was it before law enforcement got called? Because if they did, then I'm going to have a shit ton more questions, not only for law enforcement, but also for the G family. Because that's concerning. You do understand why that could mean something else, right? Somebody reached out to Aubrie Gonzalez to let her know that Kaylee had been shot before noon. Before that 911 call, then we have issues. And Christy, she's saying too much. She's saying Aubrey's phone that day, you know, Autumn's phone that day. People were messaging them and told them, your sister, you know, Maddie and Kaylee OD'd on drugs. OD'd on drugs. Interesting. That's interesting, because that was also mentioned in some of the 4chan theories by several people. Which, by the way, we've ran through almost every single theory, because we're just theorizing on this channel, right? We've literally ran through almost every theory. One thing that we don't have answered just yet is, did they actually OD? Did they have any illegal substances, any pharmaceuticals in their system? And although the coroner, Kathy Maybutt, wants us to pretend that the autopsy reports don't matter, she literally told us, like we are idiots, right? She thinks we're stupid. She literally told us, oh, the autopsy reports don't matter because this crime still happened. All right, bitch, but were they still alive when the crime happened, or were they already OD'd? Yes, the autopsy reports matter. Don't try to believe everything this coroner slash lawyer slash nurse, what is she? I've lost track of like her 20 roles within the state of Idaho. Okay, the autopsy reports matter. And if there were any pharmaceuticals, any illegal pharmaceuticals, it's going to change the perspective of this case, especially now that Christy is out here giving more interviews, talking about people reaching out to Autumn, reaching out to Aubrie, and telling them that Kaylee had OD'd. Is Kaylee ODing far-fetched? I don't think so. I don't think it's that far-fetched. Again, they were college girls. What do most college young people do? Okay, they try pharmaceuticals. And she said, you know, when before we knew what had happened, we were like, oh my God, what is going on? This is not possible. You know, like, this can't be possible. OD on drugs, you know, and then they were like, you know, the next thing you know, somebody just messaged me and told me that Kaylee was shot. She was shot. We were like, it was just, yeah, people reaching out to Aubrie, just finding her on social media, saying that she was, you know, maybe trying to be helpful. I don't know, but it's so strange to me. Christy says that she was concerned, like, why are all these people reaching out, texting my 15-year-old daughter? Yeah, why are they? Did they know her? Did they find her through Kaylee on social media? And what time were these messages at, most importantly? And by who? And were these messages looked into by the FBI? Were these calls or whatever social media platform Aubrie and Autumn were reached through, were they looked at? Were they analyzed by the detectives? Then we have the interviewer saying that he also lost a son. You know, it's very difficult. Of course it is. This is your child. Part of me, how do I put this? Nah, fuck it. Nah, fuck it. Part of me understands what this would be like, right? Having to lose a child, all that. Traumatic, of course. But the other part of me, the unbiased, the open-minded, the side of me that wants to question everything in this case, wants to question Christy and Steve. Because, I mean, Steve did abandon a biological daughter. And that biological daughter said that Christy had a lot to do with that, right? She didn't want him to be involved basically with his own biological daughter because she was the child of another female. But it's like, that paints a very different picture of Christy. That sounds like the Christy I know. That sounds like the Christy that she doesn't want the world to know. The Christy that is out here asking for more GoFundMes. The Christy that is out here for the first 45 minutes talking about her young daughter, Aubrie, not getting enough money, not getting enough scholarships. She got 2 scholarships and got to take pictures with the governor of Idaho, who has ties to Scott Green, by the way. Basically saying, well, we only got a partial scholarship, okay? That's that dark, ugly side of Christy, in my opinion. And we all have a dark, ugly side. We all have it. I'm just saying, babe. I'm just saying. I'm just scrolling here. And in this very brief, like, it's not super duper long interview, right? A minute, an hour 45. I've had like 50 ads already. It's so annoying. Steve is not saying much. I mean, I'm just watching them even without having the sound on. It's like, bro. Did it freeze? My God. Who's doing the most yapping? Looks like Christy to me. In my opinion, guys, Christy is very money focused. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say she's actually more focused about the finances than Steve. Christy looks high on that clip. Did she lose weight? Well, a lot of people are on Ozempic, right? Thank you, Ren. Hit that like button. Christy is very insecure. I'm just paying attention to the body language. And again, I've already listened to parts of this. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Christy talking, touching her face a lot. And I touch my face a lot. I have ADD. It can be self-soothing as well. Some of us neurodivergent people. But like, no words from Steve. What is going on? That's very rare. Again, when we see Steve on his own, what do we see? We see a very talkative, very controlling man. He likes to control how he comes across. He likes to control the narrative. He likes to control the information that's out there. But when he's with Christy, he's like mashed potatoes. Like, What's going on? And they're basically saying in this interview that they're wanting to talk about this because, you know, they want their story and the story of their child to get coverage. But it's like, this story has coverage. What are you talking about? You don't even have to talk about this. Like, this story went viral. It went worldwide before any parents even opened their mouth. They're saying it's pretty easy for me just to say, okay, I've got the will to make sure that people understand what happened here. And we got to do something. We got to, because I mean, we almost had 7 weeks of nobody, no suspect. But did we though? Because like, there was like multiple sources of DNA in that house, except it just wasn't tested. So no, there were actually potential suspects, except the investigators just decided to not do their job, right? That's very different than not actually having any suspects. And again, this is very problematic when we have parents who are extremely emotional, understandably, right? We're wanting to get this case closed. You want to get a suspect. I can't imagine living and knowing that there is no end, knowing or feeling that there will be no justice done to basically close the case. But at the same time, as a parent myself, wouldn't you want the right people incarcerated? Or are you happy with just having anybody incarcerated and giving you that false sense of safety? Meanwhile, the assailant or the assailants get to roam around the neighborhood. That's like the only bit that he really said. And here's Christy saying that people hate her. Is she making herself the victim? I mean, again, I have empathy for everybody, including the Goncalves. Including the Goncalves. You guys have told me I shouldn't have empathy towards them, but I do still. That's just how I am. Right? She's making herself the victim, in my opinion, when that actually detracts attention away from the true victims, the 4 victims that we've lost, right? Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, Ethan, those are the true victims. Of course, also the parents and the family of Kohberger and Kohberger. They could all be seen as secondary sort of victims. But she's talking about how people hate her. She says, you know, everything is, people online are usually very supportive, but you know, every so often I'll read some YouTube comments on a video or something, you know, and it just blows my mind how people can hate us and how our daughter is murdered and you know, brutally murdered and people hate us, you know. And I'm like, because they think he's talking too much and people don't understand. It's like, ma'am, we don't hate you because you're talking too much or because Steve is talking too much, okay? It's one thing to talk and to vent, okay? People dislike you because you are spewing out bullshit. You are making things up, pulling them out your fucking asshole, and throwing them on the internet like confetti. Like, ta-da! That's why people dislike you. Because we are in a country where everybody, including Mr. Kohberger, is supposed to have the right to a fair trial, but you are abusing the fact that your daughter was passed away and using it as an excuse to be able to spew nonsense on basically every channel on national television. Okay, that's why people don't like you. We may like you as a human. We may have empathy towards you as a parent ourselves, having children ourselves. But when you're out here and we can see right through your bullshit, that really pisses us off. Especially for people like myself. I know there's so many veterans in this channel. Okay, because we've come together. A lot of us, veterans and non-veterans. Some of you guys have parents or spouses who are also veterans. And we're always talking about what? Freedom of speech. But you have freedom of speech up until you start making shit up about other people. Once you start lying and spewing nonsense and defamating, okay, that's where that right gets cut off. So, yeah, it's going to piss us off. You having a daughter that was deleted off planet Earth does not give you the right to come on national TV and talk shit about Kohlberger. Now you're saying that Kaylee got punched in the face. Now you're saying that people reached out to Aubrie when she was 15 through social media. Now you're saying that random things about Kohlberger that have never been released in any legal documents. Where are you pulling this information out of, sir, ma'am? Okay. And she says people don't understand it. She just wants to scream at the top of her lungs to get your facts straight. No, you get your facts straight. You get your facts straight. Because again, we are reading every single legal document. You may not be. You are speaking out of emotion. We may be passionate, but we are speaking from what the legal documents are showing. You are just speaking because you want somebody arrested. Just say it that way so you don't confuse people anymore. Okay? We don't hate you because you're outspoken. We hate you because you lie. Or we hate that you lie. We don't hate you because you're outspoken. We don't like you because every time you speak, you're talking about money. A GoFundMe. Oh, this scholarship is not enough. Oh, tier. Right? Somebody who has a 4.0 and a psychology degree, I'm going to tell you, this is exactly how to see through people's bullshit. Okay? When they're talking about somebody close to them, near and dear to their heart, supposedly, and all they focus on the first 45 minutes is money, scholarship is not enough, she wants to be an anesthesiologist, money is not enough, link of the GoFundMe is in the description, blah, 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 blah. I mean, for me, that's showing me the priorities right there. She says there is a gag order. Yes, our family is not gagged. We're not part of the investigation. People think you know they're talking. Yes, we know that there is a gag order and we know you're not gagged, but you're still not allowed to alter the course of the jury potentially, or alter this case. You're still not allowed to come on national TV and make shit up that is nothing having to do with any of the legal documents. She says, we can say what we want to say. Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, so two can play that game. Two can play that game. Then if that's the case, then I could say, well, to me and to several other people saying that she looks a little high. Does she? I don't know. People have said I look drunk in the video. I don't think so. I've never don't really touch alcohol. But, I mean, two can play that game, right? She says, we need to let people know what this person did, you know. They don't even know if it's him, dude. They don't even know if it's him. I want to ask Christy to her own face, straight up. Christy, what do you think of the other sources of unknown male DNA at the house? What do you think about the fact that the mattress and the bed frames of where your daughter slept were not tested? What do you think about that? What do you think about the unknown sources of DNA under Maddie Mogen's nails? Whom you refer to as your other daughter. What do you think about that? And if she can tell me with a straight face that she doesn't care, that she knows in her heart that it was all a Kohberger, that she has no doubts. But if you don't have any doubts after that, that is in the legal documents, friends. That's in the legal documents. She said the court is dropping and they read him in the craziest backward ways. Really? Do we? Or maybe you're just too emotionally blinded that you can't comprehend what 2 sources of unknown male DNA at the crime scene actually means. Because to me, that means that potentially there were at least 2 other assailants in the home. And she mentions the whole thing with the drug cartel, saying that Steve, he was part of it, that this crazy billionaire and part of the drug cartel. It's just crazy. It's like their basis is so completely off. Is it though? Is it? Because we know what money and pharmaceuticals lead to. And we know that there's a big bust that happened involving the Aryans and involving some of the parents of some of the victims. So it's not that far-fetched. She also says, we get where people come from. They always feel like if you're telling the truth, you got nothing to hide. I mean, we grew up from like 3 years old and, you know, if you're telling the truth, you got nothing to hide. Okay, but you kind of both did mention at the beginning that horrible, disturbing things were going to come out. Right? Y'all said that, not us, babes, not us. She's saying, and it's because this gag order, you know, I mean, people think we know more. They're like, they know more, they know more, they know more. We don't know. Tomorrow we have a court case and they didn't even label it. It's just a sealed. We don't know what it's about. Exactly. That's exactly my point. That the Goncalves don't know. They don't know. We probably know more than them because we are reading every sealed and newly dropped document. We are keeping tabs on this. The Gonzalez don't know anything, which is why it's so dangerous, in my opinion, to have them doing these live interviews on national TV, because they don't know. They're going off by emotion versus factual data and information. But what do I know? I'm just a girl. I'm just a crime sleuth. I'm just a YouTuber. If you watched this interview, let me know. I'm actually going to, let's see what the GoFundMe is for. They linked the GoFundMe on this interview. And this is what? Is this like their 3rd or their 4th GoFundMe? Remind me in the chat, please. They are close to, or is this a new GoFundMe? I've lost track. Either way, this GoFundMe, they've raised basically close to $80,000. $80,000. That was on top of their other GoFundMes, right? So what are we at now? Are we like 150 or like 200K? I thought Steve G was a self-proclaimed millionaire. I don't know. Well. Exactly. Angel Eyes. Who's gonna publicly admit to being connected to the cartel or to the Aryans? Most likely the Aryans, right? Because we know they run that entire area in Idaho. And didn't they have a connection? Didn't the Aryans have a connection to Steve's brother? That was a theory that was out there. I don't know, but that was a theory that was out there. Misinformation. Why are they doing desperate GoFundMes like he's committing fraud? Breaking up money like that is very indicative of sus behavior. It's, yeah. Curio Chris says, I find it very hard to believe that a guy without a criminal record could unalive 4 people in less than 10 without a scratch. Exactly, exactly. Lisa says, Maddie had DNA under her nails but was supposed to be asleep and most of all of them and didn't fight back and had the sheath under her. Very strange, right? Theodore, hello. This is very, very organized. Of course. It's got to be. Yes, Amanda. He did say that, right? That their name would be dragged through the mud. Amanda says Millionaire was legit on Steve's profile. Yes, it was, right? Back in the day. Is it still up there? Your favorite uncle says, is this whole thing a psyop? Potentially. What if the government uses these type of situations to get your money? Just like they use it to feed the children? I mean, at this point, it's like, how could they even talk on the case with so much to actually tamper with future jury minds? I don't know. And we've never seen the body bags, right, Jason? We've never seen the body bags yet. Zyra, Aubrie, the youngest daughter, wants to be an anesthesiologist, right? But they were basically complaining on national TV that they didn't get enough money to send her to school. They only got 2 scholarships. Bro, I had to join the military to get my school paid for. I'm just saying. No one paid for my school. I had to go bust my ass. My parents were like, you were born in America. Go make something of yourself. We're not paying for anything. We don't do handouts, babe. Go work. But that was my parents. These ones are on national TV asking for money, complaining about, oh my God, we didn't get enough to pay for. Let me just Google that. How long is it to become an anesthesiologist? 12 to 14 years. Because you have to do like your undergraduate and then a medical school and then a residency, right? But they're over here like, but she didn't get enough. She just got a partial scholarship. No, she got 2 scholarships. Yeah, but that's not enough. Can you imagine if her partial scholarship paid for like half of the 12 to 14 years? That's 6 years of school. That's a lot. That's a lot. Paid for. And my parents are immigrants. My parents are immigrants, so they're like, yeah, you pick yourself up by your own bootstraps or whatever, how the saying goes. And you figure it out. But these people are like, handouts. I'm not judging, by the way. I'm not judging. I'm just saying I sees it and I calls it. There comes a point where you have to question, like, are people just doing this for the finances? Right? I don't know. It's a little bit strange. Exactly. Carl, I'm with you. Exactly. I worked my way through college. I did college while I was active duty, and then I did my other part of college while I was outside of duty. Like when I was a veteran, I finished the rest of my school. And there are so many people that have reached out to me, guys, and even in the comment section, you'll see it sometimes, that they've lost children, daughters, sons, and they would never be out here begging, asking for money. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, there's a time and place. If you're struggling financially to bury your children, there's aid. We should help you. We should help each other. I'm all for that, helping each other. But to have multiple GoFundMes and then complain about the scholarship not being enough, that's a little bit strange to me, but what do I know? Either way, guys, let me know what you thought about the new Goncalves interview, where they're releasing new information about people reaching out to Aubrie, and telling her Kaylee had been shot in the face, that Kaylee had OD'd. Why were these rumors coming out so early? And what time were they reaching out to Aubrie? Was it before the cops were called? Because if it was, we're going to have a lot of questions. So leave a like, leave a comment, guys, and see you soon. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.